Lu Sheng practiced diligently every day. The task of fighting the zombies in his dreams was repetitive, and each day another zombie was knocked out by Lu Sheng with a punch under its chin. The pain was indescribable. But that was not Lu Sheng's main goal for today. My goal today is that giant zombie, he thought to himself. In terms of size, when Lu Sheng stood next to this zombie, he barely reached its knee. But he wanted to see if a level 1 martial artist like him could fight against a level 4 martial artist zombie like it. Before he could do anything, the zombie charged at him with a love punch, causing him a minor injury. Truly, the zombie was very strong. Its strength was at least double that of Lu Sheng. The zombie continued to rush in for an attack, but this time, Lu Sheng dodged its previous assault. On the contrary, he showed it what the perception of a true martial artist was. Lu Sheng didn't know how he managed to slip behind it and quickly delivered a powerful kick. Attacked from behind, the zombie quickly turned to counter Lu Sheng, but he was faster, raising his leg and bringing it down with full force on its head, knocking it out cold immediately. Finally, he had taken down this one. It seemed like an easy task, and it truly was. This zombie had once been a warrior who had sacrificed himself on the battlefield. Since zombies like this were not beasts, Lu Sheng easily accumulated experience. They were simply people who had died. Like daily occurrences, the memories of the zombie's life began to infiltrate Lu Sheng. He closed his eyes to absorb the memories and strength of the zombie, like a machine. After finishing the fight and the reception, Lu Sheng thought to himself. He realized that this zombie was actually a level 5 martial artist. No wonder its punch left him dazed, he reminded himself. In retrospect, if it had lost an arm and its brain, relying solely on the instinctive fighting ability left its body to resist him, Lu Sheng would surely not have been able to defeat it. He had been training daily for nearly a week with constant refinement of martial arts, breathing techniques, and glass visualization techniques. Thanks to this training process, his blood energy had surged immensely, significantly enhancing his spiritual and blood state. Additionally, he had absorbed many memories of martial arts from those practice sessions. If he could integrate the secret techniques from the constant refinement of martial arts and breathing techniques, his strength could potentially explode up to 10 times or even 100 times, he thought with determination. At that moment, another group of zombies caught the scent of a human and began to approach, completely unaware that a cataclysm awaited them. Truly mindless creatures, he muttered as he saw them leap towards him. Lu Sheng seemed to be starting an inevitable battle. A powerful punch from Lu Sheng to the ground nearly wiped out the zombie's fighting ability, all taken care of quickly without any wasted movements. Returning to his current life, today Lu Sheng continued to visit the martial arts school, check if there had been any progress in his dreams recently. As soon as he arrived, the receptionist recognized him immediately. The girl rested her chin on her hand and teased, asking, "Hey, little brother, why are you here? Is it because the blood test is coming up soon? It's not something that can be improved in a short time." "I know, Grandma." This is something Lu Sheng knows better than anyone, but it only applies to normal people. "Not to me," Lu Sheng said, scratching his head politely in response to the girl at the front desk. "Haha, that's true. You want to improve quickly." The girl smiled widely at the handsome guy. In her mind, she thought, just this month, I've already seen handsome Lu Sheng twice. Normal people usually come for checkups only every few months or even half a year. Even if the school pays attention to students' performances, it's usually just for monthly exams. "Haha, room 200 is available. You can go in by yourself. Good luck." As he walked away, Lu Sheng murmured, "If it weren't for my rapid improvement, I'd be eager to come here for checkups regularly." First, a blood test should be done. To his surprise, he achieved 15.6. Even Lu Sheng was surprised, not expecting his results to be this high, surpassing the standard of a second-level martial artist. Lu Sheng happily thought to himself, "Actually, this makes sense. The supreme martial arts from 10,000 years later are accompanied by advanced supplements from the future world. If there isn't a significant increase, that would be strange." After finishing the blood test, he started the combat power test to see if there had been any progress. Lu Sheng rolled up his sleeves and prepared to deliver a powerful blow to the poor robot. He struck the robot's head, making it seem like the dodo would need to replace it with a new one. The score display was 31-37. This number was exceedingly high, even 3 times above the standard. Lu Sheng was also surprised by his own ability. This could be attributed to the martial techniques, but not just that. If it were only that, his combat power wouldn't be able to be fully counted. Determined to double-check, Lu Sheng used all of his capabilities to test again. The result was truly astonishing. After completing everything, he stepped outside to head home. The receptionist saw Lu Sheng coming out and quickly struck up a conversation. After all, he was a handsome guy. If she missed the opportunity to chat, she would regret it while lying in bed that night. "Hey, are you done with the tests? You look quite pleased, don't you?" Lu Sheng smiled and replied, "Yes, very pleased." After that, the two said goodbye to each other before leaving. The receptionist's face was cheerful as she smiled. The sun was just a name. When Lu Sheng left, the receptionist's sister smiled faintly and secretly praised. Lu Sheng tries to act cool, but when he smiles, he's actually quite handsome. All the expressions she had just made were captured by her two younger siblings. The girl with pink hair is Wai Xian, the eldest daughter of the owner of the Hong Xuan Dogo. Following Wai Xian was her younger brother. Wai Xian teased the receptionist, "I just took that kid to soak in some medicine and saw your infatuation with handsome guys." The receptionist, caught at heart, quickly denied it. "I was just talking about an ordinary high school student. I don't know what it means to be infatuated with handsome guys." But she still had to admit that Lu Sheng was indeed charming. The younger brother behind them shook his head in frustration as he heard the two sisters talking about handsome boys, saying just being handsome doesn't do anything. You can't cook it into a meal. In this society, only martial arts matter. The boy also looked down on Lu Sheng, saying that just by looking at Lu Sheng's appearance, one could tell he was just a child from an ordinary family. No matter how much testing is done, it's still just useless. Wai Xian glanced at her younger brother. Since childhood, he had consumed all kinds of kidney tonifying and vigor-enhancing tonics. Although he had not practiced yet, his vitality was already double that of an ordinary person. He is now practicing various martial arts, so he keeps pulling away from those of the same age. It's easy to understand why he can be so arrogant. Wai Xian was very angry at her younger brother, so she gave him a punch on the head and scolded, "Don't compare yourself to ordinary kids." Then she sternly reminded him, "Ganger, with better resources, you should work even harder and not be arrogant because of your little achievements." The pink-haired guy got punched on the head by Wai Xiang and just sat down crying without daring to resist his sister. While he was crying, he suddenly changed to a playful mood, smiled again, grabbed Wai Xiang's arm and said, "Ha ha, Sister Wai Xiang, can we discuss something? I want to see the test results of that person from earlier." Wai Xiang didn't understand why her brother wanted to see Lu Sheng's results, so he explained that Lu Sheng looked a few years older than him. Perhaps he was still just a student, so he wanted to see if his hard work was actually effective. Wai Xian, unable to refuse her little brother's request, agreed, but before she opened it, she reminded him, "Remember, he's just an ordinary person. Don't get too complacent." The receptionist's sister also brought out the results for them and said that today only one person came for the test, so they could view it right from her place. Wai Xian took the tablet and read Lu Sheng's name. It turned out to be a student, but the expression on the girl's face changed immediately. After the three of them checked Lu Sheng's score, they were all in a panic, especially the little brat, who had been arrogant just a moment ago, now shocked to the point that he couldn't even stand and fell flat on the ground. "Is this machine broken or something?" The receptionist assured that there was no malfunctioning of the machine in the dodo as it was regularly maintained. Moreover, it was just repaired yesterday, so there surely would be no mix-up here. Wai Xiang's expression suddenly became tense as she said, "Then this result of Lu Sheng must be true." She immediately shouted, "Xiao Ling, do you have an address or phone number?" But unfortunately, Lu Sheng was not a member, so there was no registration information. He only frequently came to the dodo to check his ability. The receptionist quickly ran to look for it, guessing that Lu Sheng must live nearby. Wai Xiang ordered her to contact the staff who were free to gather all the information about the students around here. They had to quickly find Lu Sheng's whereabouts. Wai Xiang looked at the tablet screen once again and murmured, "Lu Sheng, I will definitely find you." At that moment, Lu Sheng was comfortably seated in a taxi heading to another place. Before getting out of the car, the driver expressed his fondness for him. He gave a thumbs up and said, "Ha ha ha ha, talking to you has been very enjoyable. Next time we meet, I will definitely introduce my daughter to you." Lu Sheng stepped out of the car, shook his head, and thought, "This uncle is too enthusiastic. If I had known this, I would have said from the beginning that I was taking part in a martial arts assessment for level 2 martial artists. That way, he would surely think I'm crazy and wouldn't want to talk to me anymore." Arriving in front of a building, he was about to open the door when someone rushed out from inside, sounding as if they were about to cry. "No way! Clearly, my combat power at home has surpassed 150. How could this happen?" This person seemed to be under a spell, kneeling in front of the building with their hands raised high. Onlookers witnessing this scene began to discuss the device in martial arts, noting that it was official. Compared to other machines outside, it was certainly more accurate. It seemed that the other person had been overly praised daily, and today, coming here, they couldn't believe the truth. Lu Sheng was very excited to hear that the equipment here was the best. Finally, he had found a place that could help him understand his own strength. Lu Sheng entered the lobby and approached the reception desk. "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the Martial Artist Assessment Center?" The receptionist didn't even glance at him. She continued to sign documents before handing Lu Sheng a form and telling him to fill it out first. After that, she instructed him to go to room 5203 for an interview with Jinhen. Lu Sheng obediently followed her instructions, but when he arrived at the room and opened the door, he was taken aback by the sight before him. There were probably hundreds of people standing there. The crowd was indeed very large, not to be underestimated. He had thought he was the only one coming here, but it turned out everyone was bustling about, eager to check their abilities. Feeling disheartened, Lu Sheng stepped inside. He no longer had time to waste, and coming here had already taken up a lot of his time. The current situation was truly putting pressure on him. While feeling discouraged, he overheard two people chatting on the other side. "Look over there, there's a beautiful girl here." Lu Sheng turned to look and saw a very young girl, but her abilities were certainly not ordinary. He observed his surroundings, noting that most of the people here were between the ages of 15 and 26, and the girl seemed even younger than many of them. The atmosphere was silent when suddenly a huge, gigantic man walked in, causing everyone around to look up. At the survey site, a guy was confidently sure that he would bring home the best result to make his girlfriend proud. His girlfriend was also very enthusiastic in cheering him on. But as the two were lost in their joy and their own world, the giant man simply pushed them aside with one finger, leaving both of them dumbfounded. The guy turned around and was shocked to see that the one pushing him was a giant, causing his eyes to nearly pop out. Not only he, but also the people around gasped at the giant's muscular physique. The girlfriend felt extremely uncomfortable seeing this boastful figure. She quickly rushed up to demand fairness for her boyfriend. "Hey, who are you? There are rules here, you know. You have to wait in line." The huge man looked at her with a bored expression, not bothering to respond. The boyfriend behind her couldn't stop her, as he felt he couldn't stand up to the giant. Better to let one thing slide than to escalate the situation. Unable to hold back, the girl shouted, "Don't think just because you're big, you can break the rules." While she was passionately scolding, the staff there interjected, "This guy can, because now the staff had just seen his ticket. He should be the first to be tested since he was a level 3 martial artist." Hearing this, the sister immediately felt frightened. As for the boyfriend, he didn't need to say anything to know that he was scared to the point of wanting to vomit blood. Level 3 martial artist assessment is an extremely rare position. In the entire Baihe city, there were only more than 10 people who had reached this level. Lu Sheng thought to himself, if the highest strength in the martial artist world is the strong, then of course they have the right to use privileges. The tall man began to step up to the podium for the test. The girlfriend who had just felt wronged for her boyfriend muttered, "Ha! Just a level 3 martial artist. What's the big deal? It's not like just participating makes you a level 3 martial artist. What's so impressive about that?" But as soon as the results came out, the girl was once again astonished. The blood treatment of that man reached as high as 107. The staff in charge who were recording the information were sweating profusely, but due to the nature of their job, they had to continue. Next, we will move on to the second item. This time, it was even more terrifying and fierce than the first. With just one punch from him, everyone present was knocked down. The situation there began to become chaotic. No matter what, Lu Sheng stood firm like he did at the beginning. Indeed, it was worth the effort he had put in training all this time. The test result for the combat strength index is 10,831. The staff congratulated Zhao Chang Feng as he officially became a level 3 martial artist in Baihe City, recognized by the Martial Artist Association. From now on, he will receive $3,000 each month. After finishing his task, he turned back and looked down, seeing that everyone had fallen with only 2 people still standing. The beautiful girl couldn't help but praise the giant man. Lu Sheng, standing behind, suddenly spoke up, "Is this the level of a level 3 martial artist?" Hearing Lu Sheng's words, the girl was very surprised and thought to herself, "This person is too arrogant. He just managed to stand firm against someone else's punch. What's so impressive about that?" Lu Sheng stepped forward to ask a nearby staff member, "Can I have a go right now? Because there's no one else in line." Everyone else was still significantly affected by the previous punch. The staff member, seeing Lu Sheng still very calm, showed interest and complimented, "This kid is not bad. Get ready." Lu Sheng began to test by touching the glowing sphere. The staff member behind him kindly reminded, "Kid, don't be nervous. Just maintain your normal state." The display shows Lu Sheng's blood energy value is 15.7. The new staff had just reminded him, but now he felt an overwhelming chill. Even the people present, especially the girl from before, were wide-eyed, their mouths agape, as if they were about to drop their jaws. What? This kid is only 17 or 18 years old, right? What the hell is this? Zhao Chang Feng, standing in a corner, also had to think about it. A kid who was only 17 or 18 years old reaching level 2 martial artist. Like, this is way too unreal, isn't it? He is still too young to have such blood energy. Next was the combat power test. The staff instructed him not to let the punch from Zhao Cheng Feng affect him. Just punch as hard as you want until you're satisfied. But unexpectedly, Lu Sheng's reply left the staff bewildered. Ha ha, thanks but no need. Once is enough. After saying that, Lu Sheng used all his strength to deliver the most thunderous punch. Suddenly, the whole room turned purple before the astonished eyes of everyone. After Lu Sheng punched the strength testing machine, it shattered into pieces, with a terrible sound echoing and a massive wave of power. The strike knocked out the level 1 martial artist on the spot, countless screams erupted, and the scene became more chaotic than ever. Zhao Cheng Feng was observing the situation, also frowning at Lu Sheng's terrifying power. Yang Yan, who had previously disregarded him, now struggled to withstand this strength. At this moment, the display board showed the combat power index. The staff member of the Martial Artists Association gasped in astonishment upon seeing Lu Sheng's score, stammering, 15,709. Seeing the score appear, Lu Sheng thought to himself with satisfaction. Ha! After breaking through the barrier with boxing techniques, supplemented with energy, and using natural breathing methods, the combat power directly increased tenfold compared to the standard of vitality. Is this the allure of martial arts skills? The staff member of the Martial Artists Association regained his composure after the shot. He said tremblingly, classmate Lu, congratulations on passing the level 1 martial artist test. No, your strength can definitely surpass level 2 martial artist, even level 3 martial artist. The staff member became increasingly flustered, finally expressing excitedly, I'm sorry, I can't evaluate you right now, but rest assured, I will report to the higher-ups of the association. The Martial Artists Association will not overlook any talents. Oh no, a genius, especially a genius like you. I will go report and submit. For the sake of my entire career, I must provide you with a satisfactory answer so you can rest assured. Lu Sheng watched the staff member rush off with the result paper, momentarily confused about what had just happened, only able to exclaim, What? Wait a minute. Lu Sheng saw the back of the staff member running far away and wondered, Can I go home now? Suddenly, a large figure with a menacing aura stood right behind Lu Sheng. He became quite cautious, turned around, and asked, So do you need something from me? The person was Zhao Cheng Feng, whose gloomy face and outstretched hand made Lu Sheng feel a bit confused. He appeared fierce and introduced himself. I am Zhao Cheng Feng. Lu Sheng looked at him with a challenging gaze and said nothing. He extended his hand, ready to demonstrate his strength. To Lu Sheng's surprise, the fierce-looking man Zhao Cheng Feng smiled happily after shaking hands with him. Everyone in the stands rushed to shake hands and take photos with Lu Sheng. Hello, Mr. Lu, I am Wang Da Meng. Please shake hands with me. Another person spoke up. Mr. Lu, I am Hu Chang Ming. May I bother you for a few minutes? Mr. Lu, look over here. Mr. Lu, please stop. When Lu Sheng saw the crowd gathering around him so excitedly, he was terrified and ran for his life. The crowd relentlessly chased after him, shouting, Mr. Lu. Outside the Martial Arts Association, Lu King and 2 friends were also waiting for their friend to come out and compete. She anxiously asked, Is Sister Yang still not out? I wonder how it's going. Feng Fan Fan confidently replied, Ha ha, don't worry. The first level martial artist certification is not difficult for a talent like her, is it? Lu King agreed, but at that moment she saw Lu Sheng walking out of the Martial Artists Association building, which surprised her quite a bit. What? King called out. Lu Sheng turned and saw King and some friends standing nearby. He quickly walked over and asked, King, what are you doing here? Lu King frowned and said, That's what I should be asking you. You're not going to school, just lying around at home, and now you're running to the association to do what? Lu Sheng thought to himself, Since I didn't go to school, why does she know that I spend most of my time in the bedroom? Slightly embarrassed, Lu Sheng raised his hand to cover his mouth and said, I'm here to take care of something important. What about you guys? Why didn't you come to the Martial Artists Association? Feng Fan Fan smiled and said, Hello, Lu, I'm King's friend. My name is Feng Fan Fan. Friends usually call me Fan Fan. This name doesn't sound very good, I hope you understand. Today we came with Sister Yang Yan to participate in the test. Captivated by Lu Sheng's looks, Feng Fan Fan couldn't help but compliment, Lu, you're really good looking, completely different from what King usually says. Seeing that Feng Fan Fan had forgotten about her friend because of beauty, King angrily turned and shouted, Hey, you two. Lu Sheng was pleased by the compliment and smiled brightly. Ha ha ha, thank you. Lu King, standing next to them, threatened, You guys are something. Have you forgotten who helped you bit by bit in school? Feng Fan Fan hurriedly apologized, Of course it was you. Seeing Lu King arguing with friends, he patted her head and said, Then I'll head back first. Goodbye. King's friend also said goodbye to Lu Sheng. Goodbye, brother Lu, another friend said. Fang Fan Fan turned to tease when she saw Lu Sheng walking away. Your two brothers have quite a relationship. Lu King, angry that her friend was defending her brother, shouted, Not at all. Two traitors, are you blind? At that moment, Su Ru shouted, Ah, Sister Yang Yan is out. The group of classmates stopped arguing and ran towards Yang Yan, asking with concern, Sister Yang Yan, how is it? Do you pass? Yang Yan sighed in frustration. Ha, don't mention it. An incident occurred, so the entire exam had to be stopped. We might have to wait until the afternoon. Worry appeared on everyone's faces. Fang Fan Fan quickly asked, What? What incident? What could cause the exam to stop? Yang Yan recalled the young man from earlier. His strength and abilities were truly frightening, like a monster, not a mere anomaly. That boy was clearly the same age as me. He had a blood value of 15.7, and his combat power even surpassed a third-level martial artist, reaching over 15,000. Ha ha, what a waste. I used to think my own talents weren't bad, but after meeting that person, I realized how laughable my abilities truly are. The whole group was shocked and speechless when they heard Yang Yan recount the incident. Fang Fan Fan hurriedly asked, Sister Yang Yan, right, Sister Yang, what is that person's name? Do you know? Yang Yan thought for a moment, then frowned and said, Ah, his name is Lu Sheng. Upon hearing the name Lu Sheng, Lu King and the others stood there in confusion. King couldn't believe this fact. Ha! King remembered her brother's knave appearance and wondered, my brother? Lu Sheng was on his way home, eating a hot bun. Suddenly, he saw a group of people in black searching for something around the city, causing a commotion in the atmosphere. Have you asked over there yet? Go now. A few women on their way back from the market noticed the scene and gathered to gossip. Who is making such a big fuss? I heard that the Hong Chuan Dogo is looking for someone who has offended the Hong Chuan Dogo. What bad luck. Those martial artists are very fierce. If they are found, they might get their legs broken. While eating the bun, Lu Sheng thought to himself, the Hong Chuan Dodo seems to be looking for someone from the last check. The people there are just as fierce. Whatever. It has nothing to do with me. At that moment, his phone kept ringing, but he didn't answer. What good does it do to beat him? The caller was Ma Fei, an employee of Xingshan Pharmacy. Lu Sheng thought to himself, Xingshan Pharmacy is calling again. I should be a bit indifferent towards them. After all, every pharmaceutical product in the future could easily exchange for a large amount of assets, but do they have this qualification? It needs to be investigated further before a decision can be made. Returning home, he went into his room and decided to activate the future artificial intelligence for a check. Lu Sheng turned on the device and a beam of blue light appeared, activating the neural interface. Lu Sheng then commanded, A Yi, investigate the background of my life. A Yi quickly displayed basic information about Lu Sheng. Yes, I will check for you. Basic information, name, Lu Sheng, gender, male. Lifespan, June 297 martial arts era, July 383 martial arts era. Martial arts strength, level 6 martial artist, authority usable at level 2. Life experience, became a level 2 martial artist at 18. Causing a sensation in Bai City. Later, under the recommendation of the Bai Martial Artist Association, participated in the training camp for talents in Dongning Province, ranking in the top 20 of the training camp. In the same year, ranked first in the city and 32nd in the province. University entrance exam results ranked 145th nationwide, entered Dongning Martial University. 3 years later, graduated from Dongning Martial University. 5 years later, transitioned to a junior officer, establishing a martial arts school in Bai City. At 45, promoted to level 6 martial artist. At 50, attempted to break through to level 7 master, but failed. In July 338 martial arts era, died during the strange creature attack on Bai City, living to the age of 87. Marital status, married with 2 children, 1 son and 1 daughter, highest military rank, junior captain, no outstanding contributions. Historical evaluation, 2 stars. Lu Sheng, after finishing the summary of his life, felt quite surprised. He looked back at his future and silently summarized it in his mind. At 18, he became a level 2 martial artist, causing a stir in Bai City. Then, under the recommendation of the Martial Artists Association of the city, he participated in a training camp for geniuses in Dongning Province. He made it into the top 20 of the training session and graduated from Dongning Martial Arts University 3 years later. After 5 years, he transitioned to the rank of lieutenant and established a martial arts school in Bai City. At 45, he advanced to level 6 martial artist. By 50, he attempted to rise to level 7 master, but faced defeat. In July of 338 of the martial arts era, his life ended during an attack by strange creatures in Baihe City. He lived to the age of 87. After briefly summarizing his life, he concluded silently, "Indeed, the future can change. At the very least, my own future can also be altered. Just a week ago, I was a level 4 martial artist and had lived to 37. Now I have transformed into a level 6 martial artist, living to over 80 years, and now I even have hope to advance to level 7, but that's still a long way off. This small change is not enough to change the fate of the world and to further develop the civilization that has been devastated for 10,000 years. Great power is needed. A level 6 martial artist is merely a grain of sand in the desert. Either reaching level 9 in the future would not be able to change the outcome of destruction. Perhaps only reaching level 10 or even level 11 would offer a glimmer of hope. Although that glimmer of hope is very small, once I have chosen this path, I will never turn back." At the office of the president of the Baihe Martial Arts Association, Xiao Yuhu, he was focused on practicing calligraphy. In front of him was a screen chatting with the old leader. The old leader spoke up, "The pure life radiates brilliance, the movement is flying, the air is shaped according to the spirit, the mind moves the spirit is handsome, the shape is according to the air." The beautiful characters showed the powerful spirit of President Xiao. Entering the 7th-stage Master Realm is likely just a matter of time. If President Xiao could focus like this in his teaching work, it would be better. Seeing the old leader criticized him, President Xiao accidentally slipped and misaligned his brushstroke. He gently smiled and said, "Ha ha, old leader, please don't mock me anymore. Why wouldn't I want our Baihe to produce more martial arts geniuses? But as you know, Baihe hasn't had a traditional martial arts family inheritance for many years and doesn't have enough resources to provide. Those with extraordinary potential will always seek ways to go out. I truly feel helpless." The old leader suddenly grew serious, was silent for a moment, then said, "President Xiao, the training camp is about to open, and we haven't sent anyone to participate for many years. A large city like Baihe cannot be said to have no achievements. Failing to send anyone would be the greatest disgrace. No matter what happens this time, we must uphold the dignity of Baihe. Do you understand?" After giving the order, he directly hung up the phone, not allowing President Xiao to say anything further. After finishing the conversation, Xiao Yu angrily crumpled the paper in his hand and shouted, "Tan, how can I not want to cultivate talent and achieve better results?" He sat down at his desk, gritting his teeth and clenching his trembling hands from anger, and thought to himself, "If I could sit in a higher position and have those resources, who'd waste time writing these useless words? It's a hopeless promotion." In the midst of his disappointment, suddenly the secretary rushed in. She urgently called out, "Chairman, there's been an incident at the martial artist inspection." Chairman Xiao frowned and barked, "Why the rush? Don't you even know how to knock? What's going on?" The secretary hurriedly approached with a stack of documents and handed Chairman Xiao a survey. "I'm sorry, this is really urgent. The examiner just brought a very important piece of news. A level 2 martial artist has appeared 18 years old with a combat power of 15,000. Chairman Xiao opened his eyes wide in shock, quickly snatching the tablet from the secretary's hands, shouting, "Hurry up, show me the video." The secretary, slightly stunned by his reaction, quickly replied, "Yes." Chairman Xiao stared in amazement at the surveillance video. On the video was Lu Sheng taking the martial artist certification exam. After carefully confirming, he exclaimed in astonishment, "This is the perfect scene of martial arts." Chairman Xiao was intently observing Lu Sheng's movements while impatiently explaining, "This is a term from our martial arts community. She is not a martial artist, just needs to know one thing. A person who reaches the perfection stage in martial arts like him, there are no more than 10 people in the world." Suddenly, Chairman Xiao realized something. He thought to himself, "That's not right. Even if it's a perfection stage in martial arts, it shouldn't reach a blood value of 15.7 and a combat power of 15,000. Even at the perfection stage, the increase in combat power can at most only double. At the age of 18, the blood value is 10 times the standard combat power of an average person." As if grasping something, Chairman Xiao became happy. He thought, "It must be like that. It must be like that. Otherwise, it is simply inexplicable." Ha ha ha. The secretary beside him noticed he was mumbling to himself and then laughing loudly, making her feel quite confused. She hurriedly called Chairman. Suddenly, the secretary was lifted up. Chairman Xiao happily embraced her and twirled her around a few times. He laughed heartily. "Ha ha, this child. This is a rare martial artist talent, and yet one can appear in our Baihe city. Ha ha ha." Feeling dizzy from being spun around, the secretary shouted in despair, "Chairman, what is martial artist talent?" Chairman Xiao, finally having found a talent after so many years, was overjoyed and couldn't stop smiling. Those in the martial arts community have a kind of talent favored by heaven. They awaken with powerful abilities that exceed the imagination of an average person. After awakening, their blood value will increase significantly. They also possess unique talents with astonishing explosive power. At times, their speed is as fast as lightning, and therefore they are referred to as martial artist talents. President Xiao hurriedly put on his coat and quickly left. Ha ha ha, hurry up. I want to personally visit Lu Sheng's house to greet his parents and thank them for raising such a talented son. Ha ha ha. The secretary, a bit dizzy after being spun around, quickly followed. Yes, I'll go notify the driver to prepare right away. At Hanchuan Dogo, Miss Xiang was also mobilizing staff to find Lu Sheng. At that moment, the little junior brother rushed over and shouted, Found it! Found it! We found him. Sister Xiang hurriedly asked, What happened? The little junior brother, breathing heavily, said, Ha! His name is Lu Sheng. He's a student at Baihe Institute. His father works as a transporter in the logistics department, his mother is a cashier at Jiaji Supermarket, and he has a younger sister in her first year. Their family lives in Community 15 by land. Xiang said seriously and prepared to leave. Okay, seeing Xiang about to go find him, the little junior brother panicked and asked, What do you need him for? Did he provoke you? I'm telling you, sister, he just comes from an ordinary poor family. There's no need to act like this. Xiang, seeing that the little junior brother misunderstood her intention, angrily shouted, Shut up! It's not what you think. At this moment, Xiang turned around to answer the phone, looking quite tense. Hello, I know it will be quick, but I didn't expect them to act so fast. Little junior brother, standing beside her, felt confused and wondered. I wonder what it is. A marriage proposal? After ending the call, Xiang turned back and immediately gave an order. Now you go buy some valuable gifts suitable for the elder's parents and a girl. Little junior brother was slightly dazed for a few seconds, then quickly ran off. Yes. While running, he thought to himself, is it really a marriage proposal? Xiang clutched the phone tightly in her hand, thinking quietly, I've finally found you, Lu Sheng. At that moment, Lu Sheng was practicing in his room when his sister Lu King hurriedly called out, Brother Lu, come outside. Someone is looking for you. Lu Sheng stood up and replied slowly, I know, I'm coming. He put on a jacket and stepped outside. It had indeed been a long time since he last heard King call him brother, and he wondered who was looking for him. As he stepped out of the room, he saw the whole family along with some strangers chatting. When Lu Sheng walked out, his mother reached out her hand to introduce. Sao Sheng, come over here, this gentleman is. Before Lu Sheng's mother could finish her sentence, he spoke up to introduce himself. Hello, Student Lu. President Xiao politely stood up and extended his hand. I am the president of the Baihe City Martial Arts Association. I specifically came here for your assessment. Lu Sheng thought to himself, the president of the Martial Arts Association must be at least a 6th level master. Lu Sheng extended his hand in return. Hello, President Xiao, I am Lu Sheng. Seeing Lu Sheng's calm demeanor, he immediately praised, not bad, very composed. Just based on this mindset, it's already rare. Lu Sheng pointed to the girl sitting next to him and asked, and who is she? Lu Sheng's mother introduced, this girl is Miss Xiang from Hanchuan Dodo. Xiang briefly introduced herself. Hello, Lu classmate. We have met before at the dojo. I wonder if you remember me? Lu Sheng nodded in greeting. Hello this way. After sitting down, Lu Sheng immediately got to the main issue. He asked President Xiao, but receiving without working is not right. The association has given us so much, I have to repay somehow. I wonder if President Xiao needs us to do anything. President Xiao was quite surprised by Lu Sheng's straightforwardness, then sighed. You truly broadened my horizons. He pulled out a card from his coat and said, Then I'll be straightforward. We hope you can participate in the talent training camp in Dongning province. Xiang suddenly stood up. President Xiao, are you talking about the talent training camp? She said helplessly. It really is a camp for gathering the most talented martial artists, but it's also a place that can ruin talent. Our dodo once had a person who participated in this training camp. When he left, he was enthusiastic, but after he returned, he became dazed and unstable. Xian hurriedly interrupted, Classmate Lu Sheng, your future is very promising. There's no need to take such risks. President Xiao quickly advised, it's true, there is indeed risk involved, but it's just a selection place for true talents. This is where the top talents of the entire city gather and may also become obstacles for others. However, you are not like that. Ever since you demonstrated your strength and potential, I see that your future will absolutely not be limited to this point. Nevertheless, classmate Lu Sheng, I respect your choice. What is your answer? Lu Sheng fell silent in thought and then reached out to take the card. You are right, President Xiao. I also believe this is not my limit. President Xiao let out a sigh and said, all right, I will come to pick you up in 2 days. I'm not going to disturb you any longer. President Xiao then stood up to leave. We will meet again in 2 days, classmate Lu Sheng. After President Xiao left, Lu Sheng turned to Wai Xiang and asked, so, Miss Wai, it's time to explain why you are here. Wai Xiang turned around and, upon seeing Lu Sheng's handsome face, felt bashful and blushed. She thought to herself, he looks even more handsome than in the pictures. Wai Xiang lifted her hand to cover her mouth, cleared her throat, and said, I came here this time to invite classmate Lu Sheng to take on the role of honorary disciple of our Hong Chuan Dodo. Lu Sheng asked quietly, what does it mean to be an honorary disciple? Wai Xiang quickly explained, it means that an ordinary disciple may not be required. Of course, you can come whenever you want. All classes and materials are free, and my father can even personally teach. Enjoying the highest level teaching benefits is actually just a title without substance, with no obligations to bear. Wai Xiang calculated in his mind, if we can bring out an 18-year-old level 2 or even level 3 martial artist, our dogo will become famous in Baihe City, right? I can't even imagine how many parents would be scrambling to bring their children here. At this moment, Lu Sheng rejected him and shattered Wai Xiang's dream ruthlessly. No. Wai Xiang quickly stood up and added, the terms of the benefits are negotiable. Please do not refuse me so quickly. Lu Sheng replied, being an honorary member is fine. You can promote that I train at your dojo. This is indeed true, but otherwise, it's not acceptable. I am not your disciple, and even if it's just a title without substance, it's still not acceptable because I don't need it. If you can accept that, then fine. If not, I'm sorry. Of course, I will still come to your place for checks in the future. After all, it's quite close to my home. Wai Xiang thought for a moment and finally compromised. Okay, but this honorary title has been fully purchased by our Hong Chuan Dogo. Soon, I will immediately send you a monthly salary which will be directly brought to your home, around $100,000. After discussing everything, Wai Xiang stood up to leave. I won't disturb you any further. Excuse me. The sound of the door closing echoed. Seeing that Wai Xiang had gone far away, the whole family looked at Lu Sheng with proud eyes. Xiao Sheng, this isn't a dream, right? The bonus is $1 million and the monthly salary is $100,000. Lu Sheng's father couldn't believe his eyes. He even asked again, is that really a president of the Martial Artists Association? He personally came to visit. Xiao Sheng, when did you become a level 2 martial artist? What on earth is going on here? Lu Sheng hurriedly held his mother's hand and gently said, this is all true. I really have become a level 2 martial artist. Mom, you won't have to work night shifts anymore. At your age, staying up late is very dangerous for your health, and Dad doesn't have to do hard labor anymore. How much longer will your back keep suffering? Now I can earn money, so everyone doesn't have to work so hard anymore. The whole family happily embraced Lu Sheng, creating a warm and joyful scene. At Xingshan Pharmacy, Su bit her finger in frustration. A week had passed, and she still didn't know what that person looked like, not even their name. She was pulling her hair out, flipping through book after book, with papers piled high on the table making her feel helpless. Recently, the materials on the pharmacist she had registered for had been searched everywhere, but she still couldn't find any information. Where on earth did this genius pharmacist come from? Why was it so difficult to find a single piece of information? Su gritted her teeth as she remembered the medicine that Lu Sheng had concocted. The tonic he had crafted was even more astonishing the more she analyzed the data. Not only was it several times stronger than first-level tonics, but the standards of the Pharmacists Association also surpassed most third-level tonics. The effects included dozens of types with almost no side effects. The duration of the medicine's effectiveness was alarmingly long, yet its price was still under $3,000. The price of third-level pharmaceuticals could reach $100,000. This was a magnificent medicine that opened a new era. Su slammed her hand on the table and shouted, Dan, where is this person? Has he disappeared into thin air? Ma Fei, standing next to her, shivered in fear. Suddenly, he gasped in astonishment. Missy, I found that master, he said. Su jumped up and asked, what? Where is he? Ma Fei quickly pointed at the TV, stammering, it's him. On the news, there's an 18-year-old boy. Yesterday, our city had an extraordinary martial arts genius. At just 18, he passed the official second-level martial artist examination, and his combat power index surpasses the standard for third-level martial artists. This achievement has far exceeded and broken the records of others his age and our city's martial artist association. Let's all celebrate and cheer. And this genius is our classmate Lu Sheng, studying at Baihe Academy. He Su was stunned when he saw Lu Sheng, taken aback and stammering for half a day before finally saying he is just a student. In Shuhai City, Hushan Mountain rises high with dense trees surrounded by thick white mist, creating a picturesque scene with a serene stream flowing. Suddenly, the pure white bird perched on a branch seemed to sense some impending danger and quickly flapped its wings to fly away. Suddenly, a beam of light appeared, moving at a speed many times faster than that bird. Upon closer inspection, one could see a figure running. That figure was Lu Sheng, racing like the wind, darting forward like an arrow. He freely showcased his martial artist skills, swiftly traversing the dense forest to the mountain peak. As he ran, Lu Sheng thought to himself, I never expected the force-enhancing planet to be applicable to body movement techniques. The technique, boosted 4 times by the force-enhancing method, combined with the absorption of dreamlike scenes, had elevated his bodily techniques to new heights. This speed was 5 times faster than that of an ordinary second-level martial artist. It could be called pursuing the clouds. Standing at the summit of the mountain, Lu Sheng gazed into the distance. Surrounded by mist and illuminated by rainbow-colored sunlight, the air was fresh and full of abundant energy. Lu Sheng took a deep breath, sensing all the sensations in his body, and exerted all of his strength to throw a punch. Lu Sheng's internal power caused the surroundings to tremble, blowing away the clouds and revealing a majestic natural scenery below. Lu Sheng was relieved and sighed, Phew, I've made a breakthrough. The value of my vital energy has clearly increased and my spiritual force has also advanced. Perhaps I can now exert my strength up to 6 times. Lu Sheng quickly picked a few types of herbs and thought to himself, this is truly a surprise. Originally, this trip to Hushan was to gather materials for nourishing the marrow. I didn't expect to make such a significant breakthrough in my cultivation. I've already consumed all the white blood essence. The effectiveness of the medicine decreases as time goes on, so I need to start refining the marrow-nourishing potion. This type of medicine has yet to be discovered for its value and usage in this era. If it weren't for the system telling me about it, I wouldn't have been able to find it at all. The other medicinal materials have probably been purchased at the foot of the mountain by now. They should be ready, and I can see just how fast I can descend. Pursuing the clouds, Lu Sheng used his cultivation technique and rushed down the mountain with exceptional speed. As soon as he reached the foot of the mountain, Lu Sheng saw a herbal gatherer sitting there. Lu Sheng hurried over and greeted, Hello, I'm the person who just ordered the medicinal herbs. May I ask if they are ready? The herbal merchant, holding a pipe in his hand, smiled and replied, Young man, you've arrived. Haha, don't worry, everything is ready and all is here. Lu Sheng checked the medicinal herbs. The poplar grass and exposed leaves were all complete. The herbs were very fresh and their ages were just right. Lu Sheng then stood up, took out some money and said, All right, I need 10 of each type of herb at $50 each. As I mentioned before, that's $5,000. The herb peeler said, Ha ha ha, don't rush. He gave a malicious smile at Lu Sheng and said, It's not $50 each, it's $1,000. Moreover, you have to buy all the herbs here. With that, he pointed at several baskets of herbs around as a threat. Seeing that the herb dealer had intentions to rob him in broad daylight, Lu Sheng coldly asked him, What do you mean? The herb dealer grinned sinisterly and shamelessly said, Just as it appears, my little friend, you aren't a local of Shuhai, are you? When you come to our place, you must abide by our rules. At that moment, around 10 bandits rushed out from hiding. They held knives and approached with fierce looks on their faces. Didn't your parents teach you anything? When you go out, if you know fear, you should be afraid. Lu Sheng's face became more serious. He sneered disdainfully and began to show his strength. So, you plan to force me into a sale? The leader approached cheerfully, unaware of the danger that was looming. His gang stepped forward aggressively and the leader sneered. I advise you not to use tricks. These guys are all level 1 martial artists, so don't dream about it. If you call the police, there are no cameras here, and even if the police come, they won't trust an outsider like you. So if you don't behave, don't blame us for making you feel a little pain. The leader signaled his thugs to rush forward, but halfway through, they abruptly stopped, their faces pale, trembling in fear. Lu Sheng only needed to punch a large rock, causing it to crack in many places. The robbers, who initially wanted to intimidate, were startled upon seeing Lu Sheng's strength breaking out in cold sweat. After retracting his hand, he turned to the robbers and asked, Then may I ask you all, is my current situation one in which I should be afraid? He then crushed a stone into pieces as if it were tofu, leaving them speechless with fear. It took them a moment to regain their senses, and they quickly fell to the ground, bowing, Sorry, brother. We were blind, we truly apologize. Lu Sheng bent down to pick up the medicine basket and asked, Are we not continuing anymore? Then I will take my things. Seeing that Lu Sheng had no intention of attacking them, they quickly flattered him. Go ahead, take everything, don't leave a single coin. Lu Sheng shouldered the medicine basket and turned to leave, saying, I will also teach you something on behalf of your parents. In business, you should be honest and not deceive others. They seemed to have just escaped death. Seeing Lu Sheng speaking, they wagged their tails obediently and raised their hands to express gratitude. Thank you for your guidance. We will definitely change completely and start over as better people. Seeing their sincere expressions, Lu Sheng thought to himself, I originally wanted to pay them, but they don't want it. This time, all the materials have been prepared. We just need to go to the training camp. The leader was stunned when he saw Lu Sheng walking away, his eyes wide with fear. What kind of world is this? Are students nowadays this abnormal? Honestly, it would be better to find a new job. Turning stone into powder with bare hands, at least that's a third-level martial artist. Isn't that a bit hard to believe? A day later, Lu Sheng appeared in Dongning province at the Genius training camp. Seeing the military standing to check documents, he thought to himself, is this really the training camp? It looks like a military base. Lu Sheng noticed that all the students around were wearing medals, which made him feel a bit anxious. Is it a rule here that martial artist medals must be worn? My medal was put away by my mom. I forgot to bring it with me. He helplessly remembered the medal his mother kept in a glass case. At this moment, an officer approached and asked, which city are you from? Why are you alone? Lu Sheng replied, I'm from Baihe City. I had some matters to attend to, so I arrived a bit late. A group of young people whispered as they heard about the Baihe City. Baihe City, didn't they just go in yesterday? Why is there still one person left? Perhaps they were hidden in the back, and they don't even have a medal. Strangely, Baihe City hasn't had anyone come for many years, yet this year 2 people arrived here. An officer checked the list and said, one person came. Are you Lu Sheng, who the president of the Baihe Martial Arts Association mentioned? Those nearby who were eavesdropping laughed mockingly. Ha ha, no wonder. So he is the one the president of the Baihe Association is particularly concerned about. Impressive. A connection with the president of the Martial Arts Association is even better than a level 3 martial artist. I wonder what kind of gifts he received. Seeing the young people becoming increasingly ridiculous, the officer pointed at them and shouted, everyone be quiet. After scolding the onlookers, the officer signaled to Lu Sheng that he entered with the people from King Yuan City. Once inside, it was the induction ceremony. All luggage had to be placed on the ground, and shortly someone would come to help you pack. Lu Sheng quickly responded, okay. As soon as he entered the barracks, Lu Sheng thought that the induction ceremony required each group to enter, indicating it wasn't a normal procedure. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, leaving everyone quite startled. Oh shit, what's going on? What do they want to do? Are they locking us in by mistake? The crowd was in a flurry of confusion. The officer immediately spoke up to reassure them. All right, be quiet and listen carefully to me. Your task is to reach the exit at the end of the corridor. If you succeed, consider it as passing the entry inspection. If you fail, you will have to turn back. Then let's do our best. After the officer finished speaking, he left them there yelling, what? Isn't this the entry ceremony? Why is there an inspection corridor? What kind of corridor is this? Explain it clearly. Before the group could collect themselves, they suddenly fell into a secret passage. Holy shit, Dan, what the hell is this? Fortunately, Lu Sheng was prepared in advance and landed safely. However, some others were not so lucky, with lighter falls landing on their backsides and heavier ones hitting their faces hard against the ground after the free fall. One person held their jaw angrily, while another shouted, ouch, where is this? It hurts so much. What kind of ridiculous trap is this? Lu Sheng looked toward the end of the base and used his spiritual sense to scan the area for traps, and the results were not surprising. Well, it turns out this is not an ordinary corridor. What are these dark shadows? The effects of spiritual power are indeed miraculous, almost like superpowers in novels. While observing the situation in the corridor, Lu Sheng saw Lin Xiaowu confidently say, I thought there would be something special. Is it only like this? How boring. At this moment, the man who landed on his chin angrily criticized him. Lin Xiaowu, you already knew that there was a problem with the enlistment ritual, damn. You didn't even remind everyone, and I just smashed my face into the ground. Lin Xiaowu, with a smug expression, mocked him. Not even a bit of the ability to adapt, and you still have the face to call yourself an official martial artist. Don't go out and claim to be the genius of King Yuan City participating in the training camp. It's embarrassing. The man being mocked was equally furious. He intended to rush at Lin Xiaowu, but was stopped by those around him. Lin Xiaowu, one person in the crowd spoke up. All right, let's not argue anymore. We're all from the same city, and it's not easy to get into the training camp. We should unite. Right now, the most important thing is to quickly find a way to pass this entrance exam. Lin Xiaowu then made a suggestion. Very true. Our city, King Yuan, should unite. It's not good for anyone to suffer losses. This Finga's genius training camp has a selection process that is undoubtedly not simple. Currently, we just happen to have an extra person here. I wonder if this kind-hearted individual could go in there and scout the way for us. Lin Xiaowu pointed his finger at Lu Sheng, wanting him to go in as a test subject. A kind-hearted girl spoke up. That's not a good idea. Others seemed to quite like Lin Xiaowu's suggestion. Haha, great idea. Using a test subject for some fun is amusing. Ha ha ha. Lu Sheng just snorted and said nothing. Lin Xiaowu, seeing him silent, sneered, "If you don't intend to go in there, then make way." Lu Sheng quickly brushed his hand aside and prepared to step in. Seeing him take the initiative to enter, Lin Xiaowu disdainfully said, "Ha ha ha. You do know how to take the initiative, kid from Baihe City. Make sure to perform well. If you do well, we might consider pulling you along a bit further." Lu Sheng entered the tunnel and turned around with a grim smile. "Ha ha. The beast always stands alone. Only the strong form a herd." Seeing Lu Sheng insult him, Lin Xiaowu immediately sprayed hard glue, standing frozen in place. He asked, "What did you say?" Lu Sheng turned back to Lin Xiaowu with a provocative glance, then flashed a mocking smile. "Fool!" Lin Xiaowu, provoked like this, got furious. He pointed directly at Lu Sheng and said, "Damn, if you dare call me weak, I'll castrate you." Before he could finish his threat, the trap in the tunnel was activated. Dozens of pink spheres rushed out simultaneously. At this moment, Lu Sheng remained relatively calm, but Lin Xiaowu panicked and shouted, "What is it?" From those pink metal spheres, after hitting the ground, they automatically transformed into dozens of robots with strength far surpassing that of level 1 martial artists. It's the puppet robot. Seeing the shape of the robot, Lin Xiaowu was shocked. Even the weakest of these puppets surpassed the strength of a level 1 official martial artist. With so many, does the training camp want us dead? Everyone in the group was in an uproar. In such a confined space, there was nowhere to run. What should we do now? It was said that these puppets could manipulate various advanced martial arts techniques, with the highest level being on par with level 4 martial artists, but the cost of creating them was much higher than training a level 4 martial artist. This was the first time I had seen such a thing. Lin Xiaowu looked at Lu Sheng and smiled smugly. This country bumpkin from Baihe City is really a mentally deficient person, he thought to himself. The trap puppet had limited mobility. Once it sensed a living object nearby, it would automatically launch an attack. The level 1 trap puppet was made from a special alloy, and its fist was so hard that it could kill a person. The onlookers were excited to see Lu Sheng face the robot directly, as they thought the kid wasn't even a level 1 martial artist. One punch would likely turn him into a fool, one person in the crowd lamented. As the robot was about to get close, a kind girl called out a warning, "Be careful." The robot sensed the presence of a human and immediately threw a powerful punch aimed at smashing Lu Sheng to bits. Surprisingly, Lu Sheng stood still in front of the robot's fist. He merely smirked. The robot's punch struck Lu Sheng hard, sending up a cloud of dust and creating chaos around them. Everyone had to cover their faces due to the strong shockwave. Lin Xiaowu smiled triumphantly at the power of the punch, convinced that Lu Sheng couldn't withstand it. But the author didn't agree, for as the dust began to settle, the crowd gasped in horror at Lu Sheng. He had only used one hand to block the previous attack. They clenched their teeth, their faces darkened with anger, saying he was able to withstand it. Lu Sheng not only blocked the punch, but he even increased the pressure on the robot's arm, confidently saying, "Is that all you've got?" After that, Lu Sheng lifted the robot into the air with one hand to a considerable height and slammed it down to the ground. The robot was completely destroyed, its body shattered, and parts scattered everywhere. After witnessing Lu Sheng's power, the group from the other province did not dare to ridicule any further. They silently assessed, is he even human? What should we do now? He seems very strong. Suddenly, the clown Lin Xiaowu burst into a loud laugh, scratching his head and saying, "I almost got fooled by this guy. What kind of level 1 trap puppet is this? It's just a pile of scrap metal. The actual fighting power might be comparable to that of a wooden dummy, only looking a bit scary on the outside. If there weren't so many robot puppets around, how could anyone pass the inspection? Moreover, with that little strength, a useless person relying on connections who doesn't even have a level 1 martial artist, how could they withstand the attacks of a trap puppet?" At this moment, in everyone's eyes, Lin Xiaowu was like an optimistic fool, yet he was able to come up with so many scenarios. Someone spoke up, "No, this puppet looks." Seeing that everyone was skeptical, Lin Xiaowu disdainfully said, "Never mind, explaining to you ignorant people is a waste of effort. If you don't understand, just open your eyes wide and see how I get through this." Lin Xiaowu was full of confidence, took a run up, and jumped high, kicking the switch on the robot's body hard. Everyone exclaimed, "Wow, look at Lin Xiaowu's quick moves." Oh, this puppet is fake. Lin Xiaowu stood in front of the puppet he thought he had defeated. Spreading his arms wide, he confidently said, "Ha ha, I was right, wasn't I? These puppets." Before he could finish his sentence, the robot behind him swung a punch. Lin Xiaowu, still feeling smug, was knocked out of his confidence by a punch. As a result, he was sent flying and crashed against the wall, with numerous cracks appearing on it. His face was battered, a few teeth were knocked out, yet he still managed to say a few words. What is this? This is basically not a first-level trap puppet at all, but a second-level dam. After saying that, his eyes widened in shock and he passed out. One of the group rushed over, anxiously asking, "Lin Xiaowu, wake up, are you okay?" At this moment, Lin Xiaowu was unconscious, his handsome face now swollen, with one eye bruised. He was helped into a corner by everyone. Some people were worried, sweating profusely, wondering, what kind of strength does this second-level trap puppet really have? Meanwhile, Lu Sheng was still casually dealing with the group of robot puppets. As Lu Sheng fought, he sighed. Each trap puppet has a central unit. A light touch can defeat them, but too many. It's really boring. After a while, Lu Sheng finally cleared all the robot puppets in the tunnel. In front of him was the final door. The commanding officer of the robots looked at the notification on the control panel and was immediately frozen in fear. What is happening? All the trap puppets are malfunctioning, aren't they all new? The notification sounded repeatedly. The number 99 had lost feedback. The officer, panicking while holding the control panel, said, "They're all broken. How can a bunch of newcomers who just reached level 1 destroy a level 2 trap puppet?" The officer was now in a state of panic. Suddenly, a shattered robot was thrown in front of him. Lu Sheng calmly said, "The second checkpoint has opened. You have finally arrived." The officer looked at the control panel and received a notification that all connections had been lost. He then heard Lu Sheng say, "Come on, the guardian of the checkpoint." This left the officer quite confused. He thought to himself, when can I become the guardian of the second checkpoint? Lu Sheng, with a sharp gaze, was ready to unleash all of his power for battle. He now resembled a vengeful spirit demanding a life, coldly saying, "I hope you won't disappoint me." Lu Sheng attacked with all of his might using Pursuing the Clouds. His energy output increased tenfold. The power he unleashed even surpassed that of the officer, forcing him to surrender when faced with such absolute strength. A shrill scream echoed. In the main monitoring room, announcement sounds followed one after another. The contestants lost their qualification to participate, and number 8 also lost his qualification. Major Dong King-Su was closely observing the camera footage. She typed on the keyboard rapidly, while the surrounding machinery continued to emit sounds. Beep, beep. Lieutenant Colonel Qin Xiaojun leisurely entered holding a cup of coffee, humming a tune as he walked. It truly was a day full of happiness. When Qin Xiaojun looked up, he saw Dong King-Su intently watching the surveillance cameras, so he greeted her. "Ha, are you here, King-Su?" Dong King-Su turned back, frowning as she reminded him. "Don't call me that, Lieutenant Colonel Qin Xiaojun, if you're free. Come here and help me read the documents." Qin Xiaojun happily walked over, sat down, and asked, all right, Major Dong King-Su. So how's the quality of the talented candidates in this training camp?" Dong King-Su sighed, holding her head. "Not great at all. Only 8 candidates meet our standards, and they are all officially awakened martial artists." She continued, "Among them, 5 are quite ordinary and are purely strength-type talents. Additionally, there are 3, 1 for speed and 2 for defense." Qin Xiaojun then asked, "What about the mental types?" Dong King-Su had a high regard for the mental types. She said, "This mental type is the best. He Lin, 18 years old, has only awakened his mental power talent for less than 2 years and is already approaching the standard of a level 1 mental master. His martial arts talent is also not bad. He is about to advance to level 2. Qin Xiaojun teased, "Isn't it pretty good? An absolute genius just like you back then." While joking, he suddenly caught a glimpse of Dong King-Su's cold gaze, making him realize he should keep his mouth shut. Better not say anything more, her eyes are starting to turn cold, he thought to himself. Ha ha ha. Dong King-Su frowned in warning. "Don't cause trouble. I've already listed her as a key training target in this training camp." Qin Xiaojun quickly forced a smile and changed the subject. "The others aren't bad either." His finger was pressing on the screen to switch scenes when suddenly a surprising sight made him grimace. Once he clearly saw the situation, he spat out the coffee he was drinking. Confusion was evident on his face. "Holy shit, what is this?" Dong King-Su also became serious upon seeing the situation and began to observe. At the same time, at testing ground number 7, a robot suddenly appeared behind Lin, intending to catch her off guard and attack. However, Lin quickly used her mental power to fight the robot, tossing it away and slamming it into the wall, creating a large crack. After dealing with that robot, she sighed in relief. Ha, that was the last one, right? After calming down for a moment, she noticed a thick steel door. Lin didn't rush in, and instead she used her mental power to observe the surroundings and thought to herself, there's a very dangerous feeling there, at least level 3 power, but there hasn't been any movement. It might be a testing staff. But as Lin just stepped through the door, she immediately froze. The chaotic scene inside suddenly made her feel tense. Inside, officers were wearing bulletproof vests, combined with protective shields, their faces clearly displaying fear. They were armed and focused on another gate. Everyone was highly alert, as if a terrifying beast was lurking just outside the door. Seeing such a situation, Lin thought to herself, what is going on? This is a big battle, but what are they so wary of? She was quite curious about what was behind the door, so she used her mental power to see through the door and check the situation inside. What was happening inside? Lin observed and saw 2 people fighting, which made her puzzled. Were these 2 people actually fighting? Why was the opponent a person? Wasn't the target of the exam supposed to be robots? Lin saw a dark figure like a demon grinning maliciously as it charged forward. She instinctively thought, who is he? While observing, Lin was suddenly spotted by that demon. His eyes locked onto her, carrying an immense pressure. A terrifying feeling of dread ran through her body, making Lin frightened. She let out a terrified scream and quickly shut the iron door, deciding to hide in the tunnel. Then she used her mental power to seal the door, making it impossible to open. The officers outside, seeing her panic and scream as she fled, were somewhat confused by her actions. Lin hid in a corner, her whole body trembling with fear, tears welling in her eyes. This feeling of fear made her truly terrifying. At that moment, Dong King-su and Qin Xiaojun had also arrived at the control room. The officers were overjoyed to see them and exclaimed, Lieutenant Colonel Dong King-su, Lieutenant Qin Xiaojun. Qin Xiaojun anxiously asked, what is the situation inside now? Where are the surveillance staff? The soldiers hurriedly replied, several cameras near the door have been destroyed. It's currently unclear. The monitoring staff lost contact 3 minutes ago. We are preparing to report to our superiors. Qin Xiaojun decisively ordered all personnel on Route 12, keeping a copy of all the documents. At that moment, Dong King-su suddenly spoke up. There's no need. The door was suddenly slammed open with great force, creating a small gap. All the officers gritted their teeth as if preparing to face a great enemy, holding their weapons tightly. Lu Sheng directly smashed the door and stepped through the surrounding wall, then leisurely walked inside. Seeing him, everyone breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed their grip on their weapons. Thank goodness, it's just a student. But before they could rejoice, their faces turned pale, and they gasped in horror. In Lu Sheng's hand was the unconscious body of the surveillance staff who had lost contact. Everyone immediately raised their guard once again. Dong King-su asked, aren't you a student from King Yuan City? May I ask who you are? Lu Sheng dropped the monitoring staff to the ground with a thud, then introduced himself. Bai He City, Lu Sheng. Qin Xiaojun cheerfully praised. Well done, young man. For such an expensive robot puppet, you took it apart so easily and even fought off the monitoring staff. You really are impressive. Lu Sheng scratched his head, awkwardly explaining it was just a misunderstanding. I thought this was part of the test. He was very capable, so I didn't dare hold back. Dong King-su suddenly used his mental power to scan Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng stood still. When he saw that the boy had no reaction, Dong King-su retracted his mental power. After confirming, Dong King-su congratulated. Congratulations, you have passed this induction exam. Classmate Lu Sheng, please go rest. The staff will take you to the dormitory. Lu Sheng smiled and said, yes. Then he quickly followed the guiding staff. Seeing Lu Sheng walk away, Dong King-su sighed, this kid is really something. I just reviewed the video and the level 2 puppet was like a toy in his hands. Qin Xiaojun looked at the documents in his hand and said, the results show that the vitality is only 15 and the combat power is 15,000. It really is hard to believe. Dong King-su recalled the situation earlier. Just now, I used my spiritual power to probe him, but I didn't sense anything. He didn't react either. Qin Xiaojun then asked, so how are you planning to deal with this monster? Dong King-su thought for a moment and replied, I haven't figured it out yet, but the value of his materials is definitely not accurate. For now, let's classify him as a top-grade specimen, similar to Lin for nurturing. It seems that this competition will become more and more interesting. On the way back to the dormitory, Lu Sheng thought to himself, was she just spying with spiritual power? Professor Dong King Su's spiritual power must be at least 5 times stronger than mine. I had withdrawn all of my spiritual power, but I wondered if I was detected. While he was lost in thought, Lu Sheng's stomach suddenly growled loudly. The staff member noticed and understood, leading him to the cafeteria. Classmate Lu Sheng, it's mealtime now. Let's go have a meal first, and then I'll take you back to the dormitory, the staff member said. Lu Sheng bashfully expressed his thanks. Thank you, sorry for the trouble. By the way, I have a quick question. Is the food portion here sufficient? I've heard that the portion sizes lately have been a bit small. The military staff member laughed and replied, Ha ha, don't worry. For the first time eating here, there's no limit on the amount. In front of Lu Sheng, the best dishes from the kitchen were brought out. Lu Sheng's expression brightened at the sight of the delicious food. Even after eating more than 20 to 30 plates, Lu Sheng still called out, This dish is delicious, add 5 more plates. No, 10 more, I need this one too. Watching him eat, the officer standing beside him was wide-eyed in astonishment and had no words to say. While concentrating on eating, a pretty girl walked over to greet him. You are Lu Sheng, right? My name is Yang Yan, and I am also a student participating in this training session in Baihe City. We've entering the martial artist exam, do you remember? May I sit next to you? Instinctively, Lu Sheng quickly hugged the pile of food on the table. His mouth stuffed with food, he said, The food here has no limit, you can go find them. Yan Yan thought angrily, Who wants to eat off your plate? Moreover, it was said there are no limits, what are you doing? While eating, Lu Sheng asked, I remember the president said that Baihe City hasn't had anyone come here for a long time. What is the matter? Yang Yan explained, you may have misunderstood. Actually, every year there are students who come to Baihe City. It's just that for many years, few have been able to pass the entry exam. Even if they pass the exam, they are quickly expelled due to insufficient accumulated points. After going through hardships, they can only serve as a backdrop for others. No one wants to write this down on their resume. Lu Sheng seemed to understand the issue. He asked further, So that's how it is then. What are accumulated points? Yang Yan added, Accumulated points are the currency here. To use the resources of the training camp, you need to spend accumulated points, for example, to use training machines, consult with instructors about cultivation issues, or to obtain supplements. Even the dormitory requires consumption of accumulated points. The strange creature meat you are eating is only supplied to the military. You can only get it by using accumulated points. And up until now in the training camp, only 3 people have accumulated points. Lu Sheng then asked, how did they accumulate their points with only 3 people? Yang Yan didn't hide anything and immediately replied, It can only be achieved through testing, and only through testing can you earn accumulated points. Their accumulated points were obtained through the entrance examination. The second-tier martial artist talent from Yanglin City, Cao Yan, possesses stone skin talent. The second one is the second-tier martial artist talent from Donlan City, Meng Jinyi, who possesses speed talent. The last one is even rarer than a martial artist talent, which is a provincial talent of a mental force practitioner. It is said that their strength and talent are the strongest in this training camp session. Heng Lin. At this moment, Heng Lin was getting food when she saw Lu Sheng sitting nearby, which startled her. Her whole body trembled, her face was panicked, and she screamed, Ah! Seeing Lu Sheng eating nearby, Heng Lin quickly turned away in fear, her trembling hand controlling the mental force so that the food on her tray wouldn't spill. Heng Lin broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly ran far away. At this time, Lu Sheng was eating while chatting with Yang Yan when he spotted Heng Lin. He suddenly remembered and exclaimed, Ah, so that's her. Yang Yan then asked, do you know her? Lu Sheng took a sip of water and replied leisurely, I met her once. After that, Lu Sheng continued earlier. She mentioned there were only 3 people passing through. Yang Yan, having heard some gossip recounted, it is said that there is a 4th person, but this rumor is a bit exaggerated. This person not only has terrifying strength, but also blew up almost all level 2 trap puppets with bare hands. Moreover, this person has a reckless personality and even beat up the judge to the point of hospitalization, truly a madman out of control. Lu Sheng choked on water after hearing that. He hurriedly chimed in, that's too much, a bit exaggerated. Yang Yan thought to himself, this training camp truly lives up to its reputation. Every person here is a genius. Even that monster Lu Sheng caused a stir in Baihe City, and here he has been overshadowed by so many others. Seeing Lu Sheng choke, she kindly handed him a tissue and comforted him. Don't worry, Lu Sheng. I believe in you. With your strength and talent, just staying in the training camp for a while doesn't mean you will be worse than them. Lu Sheng took the tissue, stammering for a moment, unsure of what to say. Thank you. That. Before he could finish, a group of people approached with serious expressions and asked, Are you Lu Sheng? Considering that during the entrance exam, you damaged 18 trap puppets and left the instructor hospitalized. We are here to ask you a few questions in accordance with procedure. Please cooperate and come with us. Yang Yan was astonished to find that the fourth person from the legend she had just discussed was indeed Lu Sheng. She stared in shock, left speechless. Everyone around was equally surprised by the situation, stunned to the point of dropping their food. What? Lu Sheng said casually as he stood up. I understand. He awkwardly asked the officer, but I haven't finished eating. May I take my food with me? The group of officers stood stunned by the situation. Ah, sure. Lu Sheng, after packing the food to take away, politely bid farewell to Yang Yan. I'm really sorry I have to go now. Yang Yan had not yet gotten over this shock and could only mumble a few words. Huh? Ah, okay. When she saw Lu Sheng and the officers had gone far away, the cafeteria almost erupted. It turned out the rumors were true. Oh my god, there really is such a monster. Holy shit, the legendary fourth person is Lu Sheng from Bai He City. Yang Yan began to fall into deep thought, her heart surging as if covered in frost by the stupid things she had said in front of Lu Sheng. She wished she could put a few pairs of pants over her head. Ha 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 ha, she mocked herself. Arrogant, out of control, exaggerated. Crazy beating, the arrogant madman. What on earth did I just say? In the control command room, Lu Sheng was having a private conversation with Lieutenant Colonel Dong King-Su. She held a damage report in her hand and coldly said, "Quite impressive, classmate Lu Sheng. With just a little of your ability, you've already wiped out half a year's budget for us." Hearing about the losses, Lu Sheng felt tense all over. Dong King-Su pondered for a moment and continued, "The price of each robot is several $1,000s, and none of them can be repaired, which is truly impressive. However, after the emergency meeting, we decided not to escalate this matter. After all, it's an issue that arose unexpectedly during the inspection, and the responsibility isn't yours." Hearing that he didn't have to pay, Lu Sheng let out a sigh of relief. Qin Shaojun, along with the first three people who passed the test, walked in. As soon as the door opened, Qin Shaojun exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, you've arrived? That's great. Everyone who passed the test is here." Lu Sheng turned to observe the three of them. Jivy looked at him with a disdainful gaze, not bothering to acknowledge him. Cao Yang stared at him with eyes full of anger and contempt. Helin, from the moment he entered and saw Lu Sheng, was startled and panicked. At this moment, he wished he could shrink into his shell like a turtle and quickly escape. Dong King-Su glanced at the four outstanding individuals who had passed the test and spoke up to commend them. "Good, first of all. Congratulations to everyone for passing this recruitment exam. You did very well." Dong King-Su held 4 cards in his hands like a reward and said, "In this training camp, the stronger you are, the more resources you can obtain. Since you passed the recruitment test, I will give you corresponding rewards and accumulation points. When your accumulation points reach a certain value, you can use the accumulation cards to store them. This is your accumulation points card." Dong King-Su used his mental power to give each person a golden card. Cao Yang held the card in his hand happily thinking, "This is the golden accumulation card that the teacher mentioned earlier. It contains 100 accumulation points." Jinny was also visibly happy, striking a victorious pose and thinking to himself, "Great, now I am in the leading position." Helen held the card in her hand happily thinking, 100 accumulated points, enough for the legendary high-level spirit mentor to personally guide me. Suddenly, everyone saw Lu Sheng holding a white card in his hand, making everyone curious and focused their gaze on it. "Huh, why is his card white?" Lu Sheng held the card, observed it for a moment, then asked. "A white accumulated card? I've never heard of it. Could it be a card with no points? The cafeteria requires 5 accumulated points for a meal using strange creature meat. Using the training room for 1 hour costs 10 accumulated points. A normal mentor requires 30 accumulated points for a single session. The Grand Mentor and Vice Grand Mentor each need 100 accumulated points for a session." After reading the usage details of the card, Lu Sheng said nonchalantly, "In this case, the only benefit is eating meat." His words shocked Qin Shaojun, who was sitting on the chair, causing him to fall to the ground. "What?" The other students were left speechless. Qin Shaojun pointed at the card and said, "Hey, young man, what do you mean by that? Don't act foolish. You have 1,000 accumulated points in your hand. If Miss Dawn hadn't spoken up for you in front of the senior leaders, you might have had to owe even more accumulated points." After Qin Shaojun finished speaking, everyone was left speechless in shock. "What? 1,000 points?" Cao Yang suddenly laughed coldly. "Ha ha, I thought this training camp was really going to be based solely on strength, but I didn't expect there would be privileged tricks as well. Truly disappointing." Jinhee, standing beside him, also crossed his arms and sighed. What kind of connections does this have? It's really terrifying. Helen covered her mouth in fear. What? Don't you know what he did during the test? Cao Yang aggressively wanted to teach him a lesson. Of course I know, someone spread rumors about bribing classmates and instructors, right? The instructors for the test are at least third-level martial artists. If he wants to beat them, he has to be at least a fourth-level martial artist. Even the strongest talent from before wouldn't be able to do that, let alone someone in that kind of condition showing no signs of exhausting their energy. If the purpose of the training camp is the resources possessed by the strongest, then I invite you to prove it to me now.